Hello, everybody. We want to welcome you to the Odell Turner Podcast. I am your host, Odell. Today, I want to try something just a little bit different than we normally do. We usually talk about serious subjects, the Bible, ministry, and things happening in our world. But today, we're going to loosen our necktie, which I ain't even wearing one, sit back and have a good laugh. I want to take you back to the days when I traveled on a Greyhound type bus with our family. It was a gospel singing group, and the name was, for you that don't know, most of you probably do, the Turner Family. And we traveled a lot of miles, and we sang in a lot of churches, auditoriums outside, and we met a lot of wonderful people. And believe me, some funny and unusual things happened along the way. Now, I hope nobody, I mean nobody, gets offended by today's podcast. Everything I share is told in love, and we're not laughing at people. We're laughing at some of the funny situations that we found ourselves in. And believe me, we did. I believe that Christians ought to have joy. Serving God doesn't mean that we have to walk around looking like we were baptized in pickle juice. We can love the Lord, honor His word, live right, and still enjoy life and have a good life. The Bible says in Proverbs 17 and verse 22, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. In other words, laughter and joy can be good. It can be good medicine for the heart, for the mind, and even the body. Yes, the Bible gives us laws, instructions, warnings, and correction. But it also gives us joy, peace, gladness, and hope. So today, I'm going to share some funny, strange, and unforgettable stories from our years of traveling the highways with the Turner family. The Turner family gospel singers travel many miles, as I said before, and you might laugh, you might shake your head, and you might say, Brother Odell, did that really happen? Well, yes, it probably did. And it did. So sit back, get comfortable, and let's take a humorous trip down memory lane. Now, we're going to start this off with our first thing about a preacher. We were down in Tennessee, and I'm not going to mention names of churches or exactly what town we were in, but we were in Tennessee. And this preacher was up And man, he was getting all excited in the Lord, and Spirit was moving on him, and he was letting her fly. And all of a sudden, his false teeth come out of his mouth, and it looked like a foot, but I'm sure it probably wasn't that far out. But he reaches out, grabs his false teeth like that, pushes them back in his mouth, and would you know, he never missed a lick and never quit and kept right on. Never said a word about his teeth coming out. I'm going to tell you, there was a lot of people in that church house that was kind of laughing or snickering under their breath. It was funny. I'm not a comedian, so I probably can't tell these things to make you laugh, but that was really funny. The second thing is that I want to tell a second story. Jay was our lead guitar player, and Jay was a good man of God, a great man of God. He preached, and he was a serious guy when he was in the pulpit. But Jay, outside that, was a very humorous, funny guy. And my brother's funny, and I'm funny. And if you've ever been to my brother's church in Paducah, you know he's funny. And he's often said when God saved him, he saved him from the world and sin, but he didn't change his attitude in the way that he was because he's always been humorous, and God knew that when he saved him. Same here. I've always been funny. And anyway, let me get to this next story. We traveled on that bus, and we bought it from James Monroe, Bill Monroe, the king of bluegrass, the father of bluegrass. It was his son. We bought it. It was already decorated out. It was a beautiful bus. It had bunks and private rooms and restrooms and a lounge for us to eat, a table and seats to sit while we traveled down the road, like couch, that type thing. So it was really nice. And we would wear our blue jeans and t-shirts, us guys and us men. And when we get to a church, we didn't have the luxury of having a group to follow us. We had to set our own equipment up. And it would take us an hour, a little better, to get everything set up, and then a little bit longer to do sound checks and so forth. But we'd get there and get our sound set up, and then we would go back onto the bus, and we would clean up, and we would put our suits and ties and things on. Well, Jay uh, was in his room, and I was in my room, and we were getting ready. And all of a sudden, we hear this noise. He makes this loud holler out loud, thing. And so we go back and check on him. And what Jay had done, he had a spray can of some kind of deodorant that he always just sprayed under his arms. And then, now Jay didn't have a whole lot of hair. It was kind of thin, but he did have hair. And he would spray hairspray on it. Well, when he combed his hair and got his hair ready to spray, he took and he sprayed the deodorant on his hair, and then he sprayed the hairspray under his arms. You know what that done? It was sticky. His arms were sticking to his body. We laughed. I mean, it was the funniest thing. And even during the singing, we'd look at him and we'd say, "You okay, Jay? You okay?" He took a wash rag and tried to get that off and clean it up, but hairspray when you put it under your arm is pretty bad stuff. So we thought that was really funny, and we really let Jay have it. For a long, long time, we'd kid him about putting hairspray under his arm. Our next story, we were down in Georgia. And for some reason, the way that our schedule run, we got to this church the night before we were going to sing that Sunday morning. And we pulled right up in front of the church and parked, and we were going to go to bed. And we had all these bunks and rooms and stuff built into our bus, and we all had got bedded down. And all of a sudden, our piano player at that time was a young lady by the name of Debbie. And sometime after we kind of all dozed off and was asleep, we could hear this little voice. She didn't have a real strong voice, a young lady's voice, and she went, "Mr. Turner, the bus is rolling." And nobody really moved. I think everybody was pretty sound asleep. The next time the urgency, it got louder, and it was, "Mr. Turner, the bus is rolling." And about that time, you could hear feet. My dad, me, my brother, our drummer, we all get up and we run to the front of the bus, and it was rolling. It was downhill where we parked in front of that church, and that bus had took off running. The air had leaked out of the brakes. I'm not really sure. I can't remember what happened that night. I don't know if Dad didn't pull the brake. They have air brakes, and I don't know if he didn't set the air brake, and it finally leaked down all the air, which I think is what happened. But anyway, whatever happened, it started rolling when the air leaked out of it. But some way or another, Dad got it fired up, and he put it out gear and fired it up and got the brakes started building up enough that he got it slowed down. It luckily it was a long haul down that road, and he got it slowed down enough, and he turned it and got it stopped before it hit anything. But I'm telling you, whew, was we nervous that night. And that's another joke that we would tell my dad a lot. We'd go, "Mr. Turner, the bus is rolling." We aggravated him. It wasn't too funny, really, that night. It was more scary than it was funny. After it was over, it was funny. Okay, our next story. We went to a church, I believe it was up in around Cecilia, somewhere up in that area. And one thing that I was glad of, that church had a little creek run down beside it. Well, the reason I'm glad that that happened, my wife had decided to go with us on that journey and brought my little newborn son. His name was Jason, and he was with us, but he was only just a few months old. I mean, just a baby, just a baby. And I loved having him with me and my wife being with me, and I held him up like this after we done set our equipment up. I put my suit and tie on, and I had him up close to me, and he used the bathroom in his diaper, and it went everywhere. And I'm not talking about wet type of being using the bathroom. I'm talking about a mess. It went all over my shirt. I I didn't know what I was going to do, and my mother had come out on the bus, and I was like almost in tears. I didn't have an extra shirt with me, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And my mom looked over and saw that creek, and she said, "I got an idea." I said, "What, Mom?" She said, "Go back there in your room, take your shirt off, give it to your wife, and let her hand it to me." And I did. She goes out there and gets in that creek. I'm looking out the window of the bus. She's in that edge of that creek, washing my shirt out, bringing it by hand, washing it out on some rocks, and getting it all cleaned off, and then just washing it. I think she actually used some kind of hand soap that we had on the bus, not regular detergent you'd wash in, but it worked. She brought it back in there and took a hair dryer and dried my shirt. It took a while, but she got it done. And I don't remember. We did have an iron sometimes on the bus. I can't remember right now if we ironed that shirt back or I just put it on and wore it. But anyway, it was clean and it didn't smell. And that wasn't funny to me either at the time, but it was funny after it happened. We went, and a lot of the stuff happened to me or Jay, but we went to above Marion, Indiana. It was Huntington, Indiana, is where it was at. my dad had a cousin that had a singing group. They had booked an auditorium up there at a high school, and we were singing up there, and they were singing with us. They were the Reeds, and so it was billed out as the Reeds and the Turner family from Bowling Green going to be at this auditorium, and we go up there and we set up and everything, and like I told you, we us guys in our blue jeans, t-shirts, and I go back and get in my room, and I can't find my suit and my shirt, and finally, after searching and searching, my suit had fell down out of the closet and had fell in behind some other stuff that we had in there. And I was just about in tears that time too. And I tell my mom because she was the only one I had to turn to at that time. My wife didn't travel with us a lot because of the child, and it was just a hard thing for her to do. And so we uh, we were there, and I was like, "What are we gonna do?" We go on here not too far from maybe an hour or something we had before we would take the stage. So anyway, we found the custodian. He happened to be there, and we were telling him what had happened. He said, "I got the answer. I've got the keys to every door in this school, and we got a home economics class, and they've got arns and ironing boards and everything else in there." And so mom took my suit, and I was like, "Mom, be careful. Don't do too much to my suit. You burn it up. Uh, it's supposed to be dry cleaned, but if you can hit it a lick." But my shirt was a mess. So she ironed my shirt and fixed my suit where it looked like you couldn't even tell. And then I go back and get dressed. I thought that was a funny story. And, I was kind of like, thank you, God, for the custodian and for an iron. Um, I mean, this was a really nice setup for gospel singing. It was at that time one of our bigger singings, and we had a packed crowd. It was a good turnout, and I know that my dad's cousin, she's my second cousin, uh, Nancy. She may be listening to this because we're friends on Facebook, and I really enjoyed that. They done a really good job promoting that. Our next story that I want to talk about is again, it was me. I don't know why. Just seemed like if it could happen bad, it happened with me. We were down in Jackson, Tennessee, and we had a singing at the Church of God's General Assembly. Brother Bullen was the overseer, and he had invited us down to sing. And actually, I preached at the General Assembly down in Jackson, Tennessee. But they wanted, Brother Bullen said, I need y'all's group, your band, to play the music for our congregational stuff and for the altar service, if you don't mind. And we naturally, yes, we'll do it. Well, we were playing, and I sat in a folding chair and was playing bass guitar. That's what I played. And sometime after maybe halfway through this song, um, my chair breaks and it goes straight to the ground. I landed on a concrete floor. This was I can't remember what type building it was for sure, but it was something like a big tobacco barn. It could have been a tobacco barn they had rented out, because it was big. They were expecting a really big crowd, thousands of people going to be there. They were coming in from Oklahoma and everywhere to be at the General Assembly. Well, that chair breaks and I hit that concrete floor. It hurt, but it hurt my feelings more because everybody was looking at me and some of them were laughing. I don't blame them for laughing, because if I was watching it, I would I would probably laugh too. Well, I would laugh. Most of them didn't laugh till they found out I wasn't hurt. But then here's the bad thing. When I hit the ground, you know the strap that goes around your shoulder and round behind your neck and holds your bass guitar or guitar, in this case, my bass guitar, it come undone from my bass guitar. It falls out, hits that concrete floor, and goes boom, boom, boom loud because I had it plugged into my amp. And it made a sound of thunder. 4 or 5 big boom, boom, booms. Well, I was number one, scared, horrified, scared to death that I had just destroyed my Fender Precision 1976 model bass guitar. I thought, oh Lord, it's destroyed. Then when I reached out to pick it up and figured kind of it wasn't tore up, just had some nicks out of it, I become embarrassed again. Here I am sitting on the floor. Bass guitar made a thundering sound bouncing across that makeshift stage. And everybody in there, thousands of people from all over the United States, looking at me. I was embarrassed. It was funny, and a lot of people laughed, but not me. I didn't laugh. Okay, moving along. My dad done this, and it was funny. We had open air gospel singings at my dad and them's house, and this was after my brother and I had gotten married and moved out. But Dad had a place, and they had several acres there, and it was really in town in Bowling Green, but it had several acres with it, and we would have an outdoor singing. We had groups like Lois Jane back in the day was there, and just groups from everywhere. The Qualkenberry family was there, and I don't even remember where they were from, but we had groups come in there and sing with us. Well, we were at that time. I don't remember what happened, but we were uh, without a piano player, and we had this lady that started playing for us. I don't think she played long with us. I don't remember the reason why she didn't or whatever happened, but she was with us, and we knew her very well. And my dad was always the one that done most of the all the talking, except if my mother wanted to testify or myself, my brother, then we would do that. But he introduced the songs, and he would tell them, that we was glad to be there and so forth, kind of like MCing for our group. And he was introducing all the band. And when he got ready to introduce this young lady, her name was Brenda. Well, Dad looks over, he's next to her, but she's sitting probably, we're on a tractor and trailer flatbed. He looks over at her, and when he looks at her, he can see her as plain as you can see me. But he looks over there, and when he's looking sideways, he's got his hand up like the sun's in his eyes, and there wasn't no sun in his eyes. And he's done announced over on the piano and he starts squatting down like he can't see, like there's something in his way. There was nothing between him and the piano, but he was like, over there, I can't see her. What it was, he couldn't remember her name, and we knew that, my brother and I, and the rest of our band, our drummer and all, we all look at each other, and we kind of had this like puzzled look, but then we get tickled because we know he's drawn us blank, and he can't remember her name. And I can't remember, but it seemed like she said her name. And he said, yes, let's make welcome Brenda, and said her last name. But we really aggravated my dad after that. We'd go over on the pianos, and stuff, and it just aggravated him. My dad's passed away now and been gone to be 6 years. I believe I'm correct on that. This October, um, I miss him really bad, but we really did pick on him a lot, and it was fun doing that. Um, let's go to the next story. We were in Louisville, Kentucky, and we were parked, and we didn't know a lot about Louisville, uh, Louisville, however you want to pronounce it, Louisville, Louisville, Louisville. Uh, but anyway, we were parked, and we were kind of in a uh, little rougher part of town. Well, we'd all went to sleep, and we one of us got hungry. I don't remember which. Probably Jay, because he always wanted to eat. But the story is one of us got up and got dressed and got knocked on their doors and stuff, and me, Jay, and my brother Tim decided we was going to go for a walk, and we were going to find somewhere to eat. Pitch dark. We're in a town we know nothing about. We walked down this neighborhood, and it's kind of a residential, but has restaurants in it. We get down to, we see it looked like a Jerry's, and it might have been, seemed like at that time, it might have been a Jerry's. We go in to eat, and we noticed this plywood on this, by the door you come in, it's all glass, and there was a big sheet of plywood nailed up there, fixed up there. And we asked the waitress if they'd had a storm or what was going on while that sheet plywood was there, and they said, well, a drunk had just fell through it the night before or sometime just recently. I can't remember. It might have been even that night, but a drunk had got drunk, and maybe, I don't know if they got in a fight or what happened, but they fell through it and broke it, and they had put that piece of plywood up. Well, that was her story, and I reckon she was sticking to it because she never told us different. Well, we went ahead and ordered our food and we was eating, and then as we did, boy, people got to coming in. They was wobbling all over the place, and a bunch of drunks. I mean, there was a lot of people drinking, and uh, rough looking characters, and we didn't look like what was coming in. And I know, stop right now, as I said, starting this, I'm not trying to make anybody look bad or be bad, but a lot of people say, well, you can't judge people and put characterize them by the way they look, but these people looked rough. Now, I don't care whether you like me or not, they looked rough. Were they good people? Probably were at one time, but that night I don't believe they was most of them very good. You got to remember too, this was like probably 1 o'clock, midnight or something. I don't know. It was late. And you could smell the odor of alcohol when a lot of them would come by. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Well, Jay, I don't mind telling you, I was a little nervous. I was 17 when we started singing, so I don't remember what year this was, but I was still pretty young. My brother was 2 years younger than me, and Jay wasn't very old at that time, but he was older than us. I was nervous. I kind of wanted to go back to the bus, but I didn't say anything. My brother didn't say anything, but Jay was like, y'all need to hurry up and let's eat. We need to get back to the bus. I don't feel good about being down here. Well, I mean, I understand why, because two or three of them got into it out by the door. We could hear them cussing and wanting to fight and all. Jay was over just, he was putting it down, boy. He was eating. He was ready to go. And my brother and I, we was putting it down pretty good too. So long story short, we got out of there, and boy, that was one of the fastest walks we ever made getting back to that bus. So, after that was all said and done, we laughed about it, and we thought it was a real funny deal after it was said and done, and nothing happened to us. Our next story. Now, this one, uh, I actually think it's the funniest story that I'm going to tell you today. Uh, we were singing, and I can't remember for the life of me where we were at, but we was not in Bowling Green, not even Warren County. I don't remember where we were at, but we were singing, and anybody that's ever sung long enough remember them old mics that had the metal covers, and we didn't have the screen protectors on them and all back when we first started, and they used to say something about if you didn't have a ground protector uh, receptacle, sometimes you'd have to turn them over or do something. I can't remember how that was, but anyway, every once in a while, if you'd bump up against the mic like this, you would get a little shock. Well, my dad, like I said, he always said, "We're going to be singing this song," and he, if it said something about it was a lighthouse, he might add a story like, "I want to say that we're going to sing this song, and aren't you glad tonight that there was a lighthouse and you could see that lighthouse?" And you listen to the words of this song as we sang the lighthouse that Mr. Bonnie Henson wrote, and he would do things like that. Well, he was talking, and my brother, he played the guitar, and Jay played the lead guitar, and I was playing the bass, and we're standing up there just waiting for him to get through so we can kick his song off and get ready to sing it. Well, we're all looking over towards you, and Dad's doing this talking, and all of a sudden he gets up accidentally too close to the mic, and he bumps it, and you could see look like a little far or something that just popped. It hit my dad, and he was like, "Ooh!" Jumped like that. Well, people in that church got so tickled, and we was really aggravating my dad about. Dad said, "Them people really thought you was getting something from God. They thought you was feeling something from above when you done your jerk there and got all uh, electrocuted almost." Well, it wasn't funny for him. I'm sure it probably embarrassed him for one thing, but we, the band, uh, thought it was just the craziest thing and the funniest thing that we'd seen. And you'd had known my dad too. He was pretty dry. My dad, now he cut up with some people, but when he was, uh, for most part, my dad was a pretty serious person. And so that was funny to see him go through that and get semi electrocuted, but he didn't actually get electrocuted. Okay. Um, we like to pick on my dad, and this next story is one that I and the rest of the group was up at night or at day, whatever it was. I can't remember now if where we were going. But as most of you's ever been on a bus type, Greyhound type bus, we had a silver, no, Golden Eagle, and then we had a 4104 that we traveled on too. But the wheel, they have a seat up here at the front, and the wheel is kind of right under you. And Dad done most of the driving, and I would drive some. My brother and Jay's done some of it, but Dad was driving, and I was sitting in that front uh, chair up front, like a captain's chair up there, and uh, the rest of them were on the couches and stuff in the lounge behind me. And I don't know if everybody was. Some of them would go and lay down, take a nap or whatever. But anyway, because I don't want to tell you something that's not true. But I was sitting there, and I said, "Dad, you need to scoot over. You need to get over to your left some. You're right on that white line." And he goes, "I ain't on no white line." I said, "Don't tell me you ain't on no white line. I'm sitting on it." Uh, Because I was sitting there, I could see. And I said, "Dad, seriously, you're too close." And this was out somewhere in the country, and it was a little narrow road. And I mean, I was kind of nervous, and I was like, "Dad, you need to scoot over." Well, I hear him behind me laughing. I don't know if he was laughing at the way I was telling him, or I don't know if he was laughing at him because he was getting irritated with me trying to tell him how to drive. But I said, Dad, come on, scoot this thing over a little bit. We're going to drop off the side of the road here. And there were some places that dropped off pretty far down. I was a little worried. But anyway, I don't think he ever really scooted over. And I just finally quit telling him. But we aggravated him, and it was for a long time. We'd go out, and somebody'd be sitting up there and go, if it wasn't somebody like my brother that would say, Dad, you're on the white line. If it was somebody else in the band, they go, James, you're on the white line. And they done that for aggravation and keep on making him remember what I'd done to him. Our next story is we bought our first bus, and actually, our first bus did look like it belonged in a junkyard, and we never got it running. They told us it didn't, but we thought we could get it going, and we wanted a bus. Bus. We wanted a bus. We never got it running, but the second bus we got wasn't a whole lot better. And matter of fact, if you bought one of our albums, I think it was, I don't remember where I started saying it was the Sweetest Song I Know album, but I'm not sure. But it was a big blue bus. And looking back now, I was like, oh my. Dad had it painted on the side, said the Turner Family Quartet. And it was huge. It was embarrassing now looking back. I can't believe we went down the road in that bus. And it was an old Fuquay bus line here in Bowling Green. And it was rough. But we wanted it so bad, and we couldn't wait to go to our first singing. I believe it was out at around Relton area, out towards Glasgow, out of Bowling Green. We went, and we didn't even have it finished inside. We had some almost like a recliner type seats in it and stuff that we just put in there to have a place set. And we took off, and man, that thing didn't have no heat in it. I believe it did have or something, but it quit. And when we got to that church, it was winter, and we were froze. I mean, cold, all of us. And I remember that night packing our stuff in. It actually felt no different packing the stuff in than it was riding on that bus. And when we got in, and we couldn't, you got to remember this, we didn't wear our blue jeans and jackets and stuff then because we didn't have private rooms. It was all one big thing. We didn't have it fixed yet. So when we had our suits on, and when we got through packing that stuff in, we never was so glad in our life to be inside of a church because they had heat. And we got ready to come back, and we didn't even want to really get back on that bus because it was so cold. It wasn't no thing about turning it on and getting it warmed up because there wasn't nothing to get warmed up. And thank goodness we wasn't that far from Bowling Green, from our hometown. So I thought that was funny now looking back. It was just stupid on our part, but we done it. But those are memories that I wouldn't take nothing in the world for. Because we later got a really beautiful bus and a nice bus. We had two more really nice buses after that. This last one about broke my daddy's heart. It about killed him because I done it. Again, it was me. We were, I believe, now I may be wrong, so don't hold me to it. I can't hardly remember. You got to remember, we're talking about see, about 50 years ago, probably, something like that. And I think we were at Goodnight Auditorium in Franklin, Kentucky. And we were up on the stage. We'd sung. Actually, it was our first night to ever get a standing ovation, and they wanted us to come back. We went off the stage, and the guy that was emceeing told us to come on back. Said, Turner family, come on back. We came back out and they were still clapping. So it was a good singing and we had a good time there. But I always, a lot of times, run my mouth probably when I shouldn't because I just felt, uh, see, I thought God blessed us on everything and still do. And so I wanted to share with them how God had blessed us. My mom always thought that we should dress really good. I mean, she wanted us to be. Uh, um, we couldn't walk out on stage dressed like some of these groups do today with blue jeans with holes in them and that kind of stuff. My mom wanted us to be in suits and ties, and she wanted us to dress all matching. If we wore green, she would have a green dress on. And if we had white shirts, she'd probably have a white blouse on. But we dressed alike and we dressed in the same colors and suits. Well, I'll never forget. Mom went out to buy us suits and she knew all of us' sizes and everything. And she found a sale at this store, and I don't even remember what store it was, but was running a really good bargain. Of course, you got to remember, again, this is about 50 years ago, so things was 3, 4, 5 times cheaper than they are today. But back in there was leisure suits were really big. They're outdated today, but they were a lot of people were wearing leisure suits. But she found these leisure suits, and they were peach color. They wasn't even really that pretty of a color. And she found them for $10 a piece, marked down, $10 a piece. They were just trying to get rid of them. She finds our sizes, and she buys every one of us one. Well, here's me. I'm on the stage, and I said, I want to testify. I just want to thank God for what He's done for our group. And I'm going through all this stuff, and I said, even this week, the Lord blessed my mother while she was out. She found these suits we're wearing tonight. They were marked down on sale for $10 each, these leisure suits. Well, when we went off the stage, the first person I met was my daddy. He looked at me and he said, why did you have to tell everybody we were wearing $10 suits? I said, what do you mean, Dad? I just wanted to tell them that God blessed us and we got a good deal. I thought that was good. God helped us. Well, Dad said it was good that God blessed us, but you don't have to tell everybody that they cost $10. Oh, that was so much fun. That's going to end my stories for today. I want you to have a great time. Tune us in on our podcast again next time. We're going to have one coming up again. Our next one's going to be with my brother. And I know we do more than family, but he's a pastor of a church in Paducah, and we're going to have him on there talking about his church that blowed down in the tornado, and they're building a new church. All right, God bless you. Until next time, this is Odell with the Odell Turner Podcast. And remember, I almost forgot, tune us in on YouTube. You can go to the Odell Turner Podcast. When you get there, you can hit, I think it says view our channel or see our channel. Hit it, and you'll see all of our channel. It'll have I do a Monday motivation. They're on there. Our podcasts are on there. And then you can go back up beside the video mark and hit the shorts, and it'll take you to little short clips. We just found out how to do that, and we're doing that now. So you're welcome to go there. And we'd like for you to hit the like button. And more than ever, if you're looking at YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. I want to say we really need this subscribe deal. So subscribe to our channel, and you can hit the little bell, and it'll alert you whenever we put a new podcast or a Monday motivation or anything on. And we're going to try to get some preaching put on for long. Now, also, you can go to Facebook, look up the Odell Turner Ministry, OTM, it's a group page. It's not on a regular page. It's a group page. You can go to it, and you can also see all of our podcasts, Monday Motivations, and if churches let me know and give me a copy of their flyers or whatever announcing revivals and singings, I try to put them on for them. And also, you can go to X and see our podcast and our Monday motivations there. You can also, we're trying to get it hooked up on Spotify and on Apple. Okay, we want to say right now, God bless you. Until next time.